Did you know there was an American bus nicknamed the Land Yacht? The Greyhound Scenic Cruiser revolutionized road travel with its panoramic upper deck, air conditioning, and even an onboard bathroom. But its complex twin-engine configuration caused endless headaches for drivers and mechanics. Today, you'll discover how this bold design became a legend, marking a unique era in American intercity transportation. The icon of 2 decades. For nearly 2 decades, from the mid-1950 seconds to the mid-1970 seconds, a silent icon carried millions of Americans along the interstate highways. The Greyhound Scenic Cruiser. Its design, completely unique for the time, featured a deck-and-a-half, wraparound panoramic windows, onboard air conditioning, and even a restroom. Because of its elegance and comfort, it earned the nickname America's Land Yacht. But behind its eye-catching appearance lay a complex and troublesome technical story. The Scenic Cruiser was powered by 2 diesel engines placed side by side, paired with a non-synchronized transmission and mechanical issues that drove both drivers and technicians crazy. A revolutionary design but deeply flawed. So why was it built this way? What led Greyhound and GMC to bet on such an unusual concept? And above all, what made it one of the most unforgettable buses in American transportation history? The first steps of a dream. In the early 1950 seconds, Greyhound was at the peak of long-distance passenger transport in the United States. But the company didn't just want to be another bus operator, it wanted to become an icon. At a time when private cars were becoming more common and air travel was beginning to attract upscale passengers, Greyhound needed something truly different. A bus that could capture attention at first sight and inspire travel, not just transport people. That's how the idea for the Scenic Cruiser was born. Greyhound partnered with General Motors, the leading U.S. automaker at the time, to turn that vision into reality. But they didn't stop at engineering, they turned to a legendary name, Raymond Loewy, the industrial designer behind the Coca-Cola bottle, Lucky Strike packaging, and the iconic Studebaker cars. Loewy didn't just bring aerodynamic elegance, he gave the Scenic Cruiser a soul. At the same time, Greyhound had ambitious goals: carry more passengers, offer greater comfort, and stand out against any competitor. Their demands were extreme. A bus over 40 feet long with 2 seating levels, a panoramic upper deck, air conditioning, a restroom, and exceptional ride comfort. This began a design process that would last 7 years, culminating in the creation of prototypes GX1 and GX2, the direct ancestors of the Scenic Cruiser. These vehicles weren't just tests, they symbolized ambition and long-term vision, something few bus companies dared to pursue. The GX1 prototype and its challenges. The first prototype, GX1, was developed in the late 1940 seconds and officially patented in 1951. It was a true double-decker bus, with the upper deck dedicated to passengers who wanted panoramic views and the lower deck for standard seating. Both Loewy and Orville Caesar, Greyhound's president, appeared on the patent, showing the importance of both design and strategic vision. However, the GX1 had a major problem. It was too tall to fit into Greyhound's existing garages. It measured 35 feet long standard for the time, but its excessive height made it impractical for general use. Orville Caesar, a firm and pragmatic leader, ordered a complete redesign, the birth of GX2. The result was the GX2, a genuine innovation. It was no longer a full double-decker. Instead, it featured a deck-and-a-half design. The front of the bus had an elevated panoramic seating section, while the rear section was lower, making it easier to maintain and reducing overall height. At 40 feet long, far above the norm, the GX2 paved the way for a new generation of highway buses. Technically, the GX2 was powered by a 6-cylinder Detroit diesel 6-71 inline engine, paired with a 4-speed non-synchronized manual transmission with a 2-speed splitter, giving a total of 8 forward gears. Its centralized hydraulic system controlled everything from windshield wipers to power steering and brakes. Although still experimental, the GX2 came very close to the final Scenic Cruiser. Interestingly, the patent for the GX2 no longer bore Raymond Loewy's name, but that of Albert Boer, a GM design engineer, though Lowy remained involved in the overall design. In many ways, the Scenic Cruiser was born from a constant dialogue between engineering, aesthetics, and operational reality, production and bold technical choices. When production officially began in 1954, the Scenic Cruiser wasn't just a beautiful vehicle, it was a bold, almost reckless technical leap. Greyhound and GMC did not choose the safe route. Instead, they equipped the Scenic Cruiser with one of the most unusual powertrains ever installed in a commercial vehicle: 2 diesel engines running side by side. Instead of a V8 engine, the Scenic Cruiser had 2 GM Detroit 4-70 2-stroke 4-cylinder engines mounted in parallel at the rear and connected with a hydraulic coupling. The reason was simple. GM didn't yet have a suitable V8 diesel engine for buses, and they refused to use engines from other manufacturers. What began as a temporary solution became permanent. Each engine was paired with a non-synchronized 3-speed Spicer manual gearbox, coupled to a 2-speed high-low splitter, giving the driver 6 forward gears. On paper, it sounded reasonable. In practice, it caused endless trouble. Drivers had to double-clutch every shift, and the engines had to remain perfectly synchronized. If they fell out of sync, the bus would shake, lose power, or worse, damage its own drivetrain. The mechanical nightmare and the passenger experience. The complexity didn't end in the powertrain. Many drivers, acting like amateur mechanics, tried to adjust the engines themselves, almost always throwing off the delicate synchronization. Maintenance centers were often unprepared, with insufficiently trained staff and inadequate tools to handle a dual-engine system. Parts were scarce, procedures unclear, and it wasn't uncommon for Scenic Cruisers to run with only one engine functioning, or in the worst cases, none at all. In addition to this, the Scenic Cruiser depended on an elaborate central hydraulic system. Brakes, power steering, and even the windshield wipers ran on a single circuit that held 7 gallons of fluid, sometimes pressurized to 1,500 pounds per square inches. This system provided smooth operation but made maintenance enormously complicated. Interior design and comfort. However, despite its intricate mechanics, the Scenic Cruiser's interior was a true spectacle. Greyhound invested significantly to turn it into a luxury motor hotel. The first impression came from its panoramic upper deck windows. Passengers enjoyed elevated views surrounded by large glass panels, feeling like they were gliding through the American landscape in a glass observation car. Children fought over the prized front seats, where they could look straight through the windshield, a virtually unique experience for the time. The seating was also carefully chosen. Greyhound and Raymond Loewy selected a multicolored cross-pattern fabric, not just for its looks, but for practicality. A material that hid stains and wear, helping the buses retain a clean appearance despite thousands of yearly passengers. As for amenities, the Scenic Cruiser featured air conditioning, a cigarette smoke ventilation system, and even an onboard restroom, a nearly unthinkable luxury at the time. Air conditioning vents were strategically placed to ensure even airflow, while roof vents filtered the air, crucial at a time when passengers still smoked inside. Below the floor, a large luggage compartment stored suitcases and bulky cargo. Some routes even included onboard attendants, a rarity in intercity bus service. The cost of innovation. But underneath all that luxury, a mechanical nightmare lurked. The use of twin GM Detroit 4-71 4-cylinder engines was an unavoidable compromise. GM simply didn't yet have a suitable diesel V8. Coupled via a hydraulic drive to a 3-speed manual transmission with a 2-speed splitter, the system delivered 6 forward gears. Though theoretically flexible, in practice it was a disaster. For the twin engines to work properly, they had to be perfectly synchronized. Any deviation caused loss of power, vibrations, and the risk of major failures. Combined with drivers tinkering with the engines and poorly trained maintenance staff, the result was frequent breakdowns, delayed service, and a decline in passenger confidence. The Great Conversion. The situation escalated to the point where Greyhound had to launch one of the most extensive retrofit programs in bus history. All 1,001 Scenic Cruisers were converted to run on a single Detroit diesel, 8 volts 71V, 8-engine, more powerful, simpler, and vastly more reliable. At the same time, The transmission was upgraded from a 3-speed to a 4-speed non-synchronized gearbox, already familiar to drivers. Some of the most complex hydraulic systems were simplified as well, making maintenance much easier. Although the exterior remained nearly unchanged, the mechanical interior was completely transformed. These upgrades not only restored Greyhound's reputation but significantly extended the lifespan of its fleet. Many Scenic Cruisers continued operating until the mid-1972s, far beyond their original expected service life. A legacy of design and passenger experience. What truly immortalized the Scenic Cruiser was its impact on design and passenger experience. Its deck-and-a-half layout with elevated seating and wraparound glass not only provided a unique panoramic view but inspired future bus designs. A clear example was the GMC Buffalo, launched in the late 1960s, which clearly inherited aesthetic elements from the Scenic Cruiser. The Scenic Cruiser also raised the bar for modern intercity travel, air conditioning, onboard restrooms, large luggage compartments, and even travel attendants went from luxury features to industry standards. What began as an ambitious yet flawed vehicle ended up defining the future of the American motor coach, symbol of an era. The Scenic Cruiser wasn't perfect, but for many, it represented an era of road trips, exploration, and the restless spirit of a nation on the move. From its bold engineering choices, twin engines, non-synchronized transmission, complex hydraulic system to its elegant design and amenities, the Scenic Cruiser embodied innovation and ambition. Today, only a few Scenic Cruisers survive, but anyone who ever traveled beneath its panoramic windows or heard the rumble of its engines on the highway probably never forgot that experience. This bus was more than transportation, it was a journey in itself, a feeling that captured the imagination and lingered in America's collective memory. Memories that endure. The Scenic Cruiser left an indelible legacy. Its story blends boldness and mistakes, elegance and technical complexity. It serves as a reminder that innovation often comes with risks, that aesthetic and comfort breakthroughs can coexist with mechanical challenges, and that a bus can transcend its purpose to become a symbol of an entire era of travel and adventure. Only those who lived it can truly grasp its greatness and its challenges. If you ever rode in a Scenic Cruiser or have a story about one, you probably remember every detail, from the sensation of floating across the highway to the thrill of peering through its panoramic glass, a luxury few machines have ever matched. If the story of the Scenic Cruiser, this icon that blended luxury, innovation, and mechanical challenges has amazed you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more stories about these legends on wheels. See you on the next journey, where another American transportation icon waits to be discovered and admired in all its glory.